So when you picture France, what pops into your head? Is it the Louvre, fine wine, the sheer elegance of high culture? Or is it something else? Streets jammed with protesters, burning barricades, a kind of beautiful, fiery chaos. But what if I told you they aren't opposites? What if they're two sides of the same brilliant coin? That's what we're going to get into.
It's this puzzle, right? This paradox that's baffled people for centuries. Is France a beacon of refined order, or is it always teetering on the edge of glorious anarchy? To really get it, we have to look at what both sides are really about.
I mean, think about it. On one hand, you've got this picture of perfection, right? The Louvre, incredible food, high fashion. And then, on the other hand, you see the news. Mass protests, trash piling up, riot police on the streets. It feels like two totally different places. But maybe that's the wrong way to see it. Maybe they're not separate at all.
Because this is where it gets really interesting. The core idea here is that all this chaos, it isn't a national flaw. Not at all. It's a feature. It's a highly sophisticated, deeply ingrained immune system.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bug. It is the system. All that friction, the protests, the unruliness. Think of it as a national immune response built up over centuries to fight off the virus of totalitarianism. So, the big question is, how does this thing actually work?
Okay, so let's break this down. The first piece of the puzzle is all about philosophy. It's this idea that's just baked into the French mindset, a deep, almost gut-level suspicion of absolute authority, and this relentless need to question everything. And to really get this, we've got to borrow a concept from a philosopher, Karl Popper. It's called falsifiability. In science, a theory is only considered legit if you can actively try to prove it wrong. Well, here's the kicker. The French do the exact same thing with their government. Every new law isn't some final word from on high, it's just a hypothesis that the public has the right, maybe even the duty, to challenge. And that is the key. All that shouting, all the protests you see on the streets, it's not just random anger. It's a huge public stress test. It's the people pushing and pulling on a policy to see if it breaks, to make sure no single idea ever becomes a sacred, unquestionable truth. Because, you see, from their perspective, a society that's too quiet, a society without this constant friction, well, that's not peaceful. That's a society that's quietly sliding into tyranny. And this ties right into another cool philosophical idea, this one from Nietzsche, the Dionysian spirit. This isn't some cold, calculated process. It's a passionate, chaotic, full-throated embrace of life's messy, wild energy, a total rejection of that kind of cold, sterile, perfect order. So what does it all boil down to? It's a choice. Do you want messy freedom or quiet control? And believe it or not, this way of thinking has very, very real consequences for people's day-to-day lives. Okay, pillar number 2, the economics. But hold on, we're not talking about stock markets or GDP charts here. This is about something way more personal. This is the economics of everyday liberty, and why the French just refuse to trade today's happiness for some politician's promise about tomorrow. It really comes down to this psychological quirk we all have. It's called loss aversion. Basically, losing $10 feels way, way worse than the pleasure you get from finding $10. And the French, they take this idea to a whole new level when it comes to their hard-won way of life. So when the government says, hey, let's bump up the retirement age by just 2 years, bam, the country explodes. And why? Because it's not about 2 years on a spreadsheet. It's about taking away something real, something tangible. It's about time with your family, long summer holidays, enjoying a coffee without rushing. They will not trade those concrete present-day joys for some vague promise of future national glory. And that's how you starve a would-be authoritarian of their fuel. And this quote just nails it. This obsession isn't about being selfish. It's a firewall. It's refusing to sacrifice your actual, real life for some big abstract ideology, which, let's be honest, is always step 1 in the tyrant's playbook. All right, that brings us to the final piece, our third pillar. The strategy. Because what you see on the streets, it isn't just raw emotion. Oh no, it's a game. A very, very smart and well-practiced game of power. Let's talk game theory for a sec. There's this concept called a credible threat. It means your warning shot is so big, so costly for you to fire, that your opponent has to believe you're serious. And what's the ultimate credible threat?
a nationwide strike that shuts down the entire country.
And they've got a playbook for it. It's almost predictable. Step 1, the government pushes too far. Step 2, society pulls out the big guns, the critical threat. Step 3, everything grinds to a halt. The country is paralyzed. Suddenly, the cost becomes unbearable. And the government has to ask itself, is this new rule really worth all this? And just like that, a new tense balance is found. It's this incredible dance, and everyone knows the steps.
I love this metaphor. It's straight out of Sun Tzu. Picture a totalitarian government as a big, solid fist. It's built to punch something hard. But the French resistance? It's decentralized. It's formless, like water, or maybe even cotton. The fist swings, and just poof, it hits nothing. It just tires itself out trying. So let's put it all together. You've got this philosophy of always questioning, this economic focus on real, everyday freedom, and this brilliant strategy of defiance. When you stack it all up, you realize this isn't a broken system. It's a machine, a finely tuned machine for protecting liberty.
You know, there's actually a perfect word for this: anti-fragile. Something fragile shatters under pressure. Something robust just endures it. But something anti-fragile, it actually gets stronger from the stress. All this chaos, all this friction, it's like a constant workout for French democracy. It makes it tougher and more resilient with every single protest.
And that gets to the absolute core of it all. Because a country that's too quiet, too orderly, well, that's a place where you should actually be worried. That's the perfect breeding ground for tyranny. So in the end, it's really a choice between two ways of being. Are you a nation of docile sheep? Quiet, safe, but easily herded? Or are you a nation of proud wildcats? Yeah, they're noisy, they're messy, they're a pain to govern, but good luck trying to tame them.
Which leaves us with one last question. The next time you see that image on the news, a burning barricade in a Parisian street, what are you going to see? A glitch in the system? Or are you going to see the watchfires of a fortress, a messy, loud, and frankly brilliant defense of liberty?